Sometimes you may feel like you're failing at life. Bumbleclad, me too. Sometimes. Nevertheless, be reminded that this is your path, full of choices for you to make. That's creative energy. So let's break it down. Don't make it break you down. Welcome back to another episode of the Yardie Yogi Perspective. I am your host, Yardie Kadish, your resident Yardie turned yogi. I am happy to have you here with me today. With yoga being an applied science, my intention is to take it further than just our physical practice where we're getting into our bodies and taking those principles that we've learned on our mats, off our mats, and exploring our minds and our spirits so that we can learn to navigate this very challenging thing called life with as much ease and peace as possible. So on every episode, we start off by grounding ourselves in one of the yamas or the niyamas, which are the ethical principles that guide the yogic tradition. And the yamas are how we interact with the world, and the niyamas are how we interact within ourselves. So this week we're anchoring ourselves on a niyama, so we're going within, and that is tapas, discipline, that inner fire. How can we be more disciplined with ourselves? And we're applying that to the topic of breakdown or breakthrough. Your path, your choice. I'll explore why breakdowns are necessary and natural, why you are responsible, and how to keep moving, knowing that breakthrough is coming. Then we'll dive into our special tea time, where I pour into you with some affirmations. Okay, are you ready? Let's go. Breakdowns are absolutely necessary. It's natural for breakdown. I break down quite often. Yeah. Sometimes you just have to have a good breakdown. Just break down. Let yourself have it. Let yourself release. It is essential to the healing journey. The only time I begin to worry about breakdowns is if they're happening quite frequently and they've become the default almost to any challenge. As soon as we sense challenge, it's a breakdown. That becomes a problem. So you might want to seek out a mental health professional if you feel like you are just in a place where breakdown, you're having difficulties navigating and controlling the breakdowns. We just don't want it to become our new ordinary. I remember growing up, my mom would always say that my tears are easy to come. Like I cry very easily as a child. And now as an adult, deep in my healing journey, I realized that was not a good thing to tell a child. And that has definitely shaped me. That made me feel like, all right, I have to be strong. All right, my emotions aren't valid. I shouldn't be so easily moved. I shouldn't be so soft and weak. That's what I took away from it. And so now I know I'm vulnerable. As a Cancerian, I have such a soft inner self. Like I'm so soft. But the outer core is hard. I've had to be hard for survival, to navigate this God forbidden world. But a part of the healing journey is really finding that balance, and making sure that I'm not being hard because I don't know how to be soft. So that ties back to my mission of being rested and resilient. I already know what resilience is. It's in my blood at this point. Rest, not so much. So I'm doing a lot of healing, not for myself, but for the women, for the four parents that came before me that they never knew rest. Even grandparents alive still know, struggling with the concept of rest for their wellness, for their well-being, for their joy, for their vitality. I'm reclaiming that. I am daring to do that. So breakdowns are absolutely necessary, my friend. The life is hard as it is, and we are expected to find it challenging. We're expected to feel that it's hard, and it's okay. I want us to respond to our breakdowns by recognizing that we are responsible. We are able. So we are able to respond. So how we choose to respond to a circumstance, to a challenge, defines us. That is where the real power lies. That is where the real work resides. Whether we like it or not, we are responsible for the quality of our lives. So whether we're unhappy or happy, it's completely up to us. Oh, but Jade, the world, and there's so much going on. I'm talking to myself. That's a hard pill to swallow. I'm like, wow, so really? My happiness and everything really comes down to me? We already know that there's so much that's happening externally that influences the qualities of our lives. Absolutely. This is why when we're practicing yoga, we're going within. We're trying to still our minds to find that steadiness. And that steadiness is power. Because that means whatever is happening in your external doesn't have as much control over your inner state. And that is power. That is power. I've always known that. I didn't have the words to describe it though. I'm confident now, talking about topics like this now. It is so me. It is so in alignment with who I am and who I've always been. I've always known that your ability to find stillness, to hold your composure, that is true power. Because there's so much that's happening in the external world that's so triggering, quite literally. It's a fight on our bodies. It's an attack on our bodies, on our minds, and on our spirits. And your ability to respond by choosing to maintain your inner composure. Oof, 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 oof. Oof. Oh, Janine sing a song that says, a spiritual woman is the greatest threat to the status quo. As a sentence, a spiritual woman is the greatest threat to the status quo. And that I just puff out my chest when I hear that, because I'm like, yes, I've always known this. Because while I'm not a violent person, yeah, my mind and my spirit is not conformist. Okay? Know that. No. Sure, there's a lot of deconstructing, perhaps decolonizing, deconditioning that's happening. But at the core of it, it is minds. Know that you are responsible. So having the awareness that every action, every thought you've ever had sends out an energy out into the world that equates into a reaction. right? So everything that you've ever done, every action that you've ever taken, there's an equal reaction to that. So if you're harboring negative thoughts, self-depreciating, self-limiting thoughts about yourself, why you're unworthy, why you're not deserving, why you're not capable, then that's gonna help to create the life that you continue to live. So our mind is very powerful. It is very powerful. How you respond to your breakdown is important. So give ourselves the time to break down and feel our feelings, sure. But then we have to take our control. We have to find our power and determine how then do we respond to this breakdown. Am I gonna let how I'm feeling right now? Am I gonna let the thoughts that are in my head right now continue to be present? Continue to be present, continues to impact, influence, and help to manifest my future. Is that worth it? So your ability to respond means that you have to take responsibility for what you feel right now and how you shift out of that, because your future depends on it. Careful. Careful. So here are some ways that I would say that we can be practical about how we respond to our breakdowns. First, physically get into the body. That can be any type of movement, going for a walk, going for a run, doing a workout. As a yogi, I'm gonna always advocate for yoga. Find yourself on your mat. Why I would recommend yoga is it's a somatic practice where, as an applied science, we're applying yoga here as a discipline to connect the body, the mind, and the spirit. So on our mats, we're doing somatic movements. So we're using breath to bring awareness to the body. And when we bring our awareness to the body, we also bring our awareness to the mind. And we observe what's happening in the mind. The mind is resistant. The mind is frustrated. The mind is angry. The mind is sad. The mind is dealing with a plethora of feelings moving all over the place. The more we find our presence in our mind and our bodies, eventually we can still that mind. And you see, when we still that mind, it takes us even deeper within ourselves. When we go deeper, move beyond the mind, we get into the spirit. And that is when we know our true self surfaces. So doing practices like yoga helps us to bring back balance. So even if you're not going deep into the spiritual stuff, just being into your mat, being present with your body and your breath, it helps you to relax and release stress. Literally just breathing, controlling your breath. That is life force energy. When we practice that breath control, we help the body to relax, to release. Because stress, it starts in the mind and then it manifests in the body. So you see how it's all connected. So to release what's happening in the mind, we get into the body. And when we get into the body, we get back into the mind. And so one impacts the other. Mind-body connection. Yeah. So I'm going to always recommend yoga for stress release. Stress relief. Know that it's okay to break down. You are responsible for how you react to your breakdown, what you do to move yourself out of it. But it is possible. You have to keep moving and know that your breakthrough is coming. Because when you respond to that breakdown consciously, you're going to break through. A breakthrough is going to come. No doubt about it. We have to be gentle with ourselves and recognize that it's more about progress than perfection. Each time you have a breakdown, it's not about how quickly you can get back up. Sure, hopefully that gets better over time. But it's really not about how quickly or how you respond to it. It's about progress. As long as you respond to it in a healthy way and it gets a little better each time. That's how we grow. So be gentle with yourself. Know that sometimes rock bottom is exactly where you need to hit. Some of us need to hit rock bottom. We need to get to the place where we cannot see anything. There is nowhere else to go but up. You have no option but to root, to ground yourself. Root so you can rise. Trust that the light comes after the darkest hour. Sometimes we need that final crack so we can begin to put ourselves back together. All right, let's move into our special tea time and affirmations segment. Since the niyamas that we centered ourselves into for this practice is tapas, discipline, it means applying discipline to your life. Yeah, so when you're thinking about applying tapas, discipline to your mind, your body, and your spirit, physically on your mat, discipline is holding a pose on your mat that is uncomfortable. You're still staying safe within your body, but it's uncomfortable. But trusting that the longer you can hold the pose and the more you do it, you develop strength. The same thing applies off the mat into your mind and your life. When you can apply discipline for something that is healthy for you, but is uncomfortable, you're developing that healthy discomfort. Put it that way. And over time, you're able to know that, all right, it's not about where I am in the present moment, but holding on to knowing that when I accept where I am and I put in the work to change that, eventually the breakthrough is going to come. So it's not an immediate thing. It is not an immediate thing. And that's what discipline is. Putting in the work right now and trusting that it will pay off in the long run for your good, for your highest good, or for your betterment, if that's an English word. So, our affirmations for today. My pain is not permanent. It's a part of my becoming. I am the alchemist of my experience. I am the alchemist of my experience. I turn my pain into power. I choose how I rise every single time. My pain is not permanent. It's a part of my becoming. I am the alchemist of my experience. I turn pain into power. I get to choose how I rise every single time. All right, so to recap on what we spoke about today, on today's topic of break down or breakthrough, your path, your choice, we anchored ourselves in a niyama, in a personal observation. So we went within and centered the niyama of discipline, tapas. Yeah, recognizing that breakdowns are necessary and natural, and how we respond to them is completely up to us. We decide the quality of our lives, and so to apply discipline to how we navigate our lives, we have to recognize that it's okay to be uncomfortable, knowing that you're doing the work to someday return back to balance, return back to a place of comfort, to a place of breakthrough. But you have to be okay with your discomfort and use it as an opportunity to put in the work to get yourself on the other end of it and know that it's all up to you, your path, your choice. So if any of this resonated with you, I invite you to share the podcast. Follow me on Instagram at the Yardie Yogi. Leave a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are. Leave a review on Apple or Spotify. And just our question to reflect on before you go. What practice do I need to return to? Not from pressure, but from love. It's an opportunity to apply discipline, gentle discomfort, that healthy discomfort for gentle growth. All right? Until next time, you don't know the thing go. Stay rested and resilient, and I'll see you in the next one.